Intro Algebra Lesson 1-6B. Last time we were talking about data and ways to display the data, whether it be with a bar graph or a line graph. And we talk about manipulating that bar graph to make it give off different appearances. So I'm going to go through a few examples of bar graphs and line graphs and how they can be manipulated and the effects they have on the appearance of the graph. Keep in mind that for all these problems, I'm not changing the data, I'm not changing the information, I'm changing how it appears by either stretching one of the axes or condensing the axes or possibly both. So last time we had looked at this bar graph for favorite ice cream flavors, and I had made the increments go from 0 to 50, and you could see the bars that represent each of the flavors. So this is the one we had looked at before. Now, what happens if I stretch out this axis right here and make it longer? Well, if I do that, then we get an appearance like this. It makes the bars look longer. So before, we had chocolate. Chocolate was a head, and it's big in comparison to, say, Rocky Road, or in comparison to strawberry, it's quite a bit more. But when you look at it here, it seems even bigger. And all I did is stretch out this axis. Alright? If I were to take that same graph, except this time condense it, and you'll notice this right here, that's that little scrunch. You have to look. Sometimes you'll see it on a graph where it's been pushed down. So I've scrunched this thing down, that little beginning, if you compare it to what we had here at the start. I didn't scrunch it up a lot, but I scrunched it up some. So by scrunching it and then making the increments go up 5, another 5, another 5, 5, 5, each of these increments are 5, it does the same thing. It stretches out that graph. If I condense the graph, maybe I scrunch this tighter, it makes all of these look squattier. Now look at the Rocky Road Vanilla and Chocolate Chip. When it's in this format, there's definitely a difference between them. When it's in the scrunched format, it's very hard to tell the difference between the other flavors. Chocolate is still standout, but the others look much less different. So that's how graphs get manipulated. If I don't want to give off the appearance that there's much difference between them, then I can use this graph. I want to pretend like, oh, they're almost the same. There's not a lot of difference between these flavors. But if I really want to accentuate the difference, I'll stretch it out and I'll say, these aren't the same. These are not even close to the same. So it accentuates that piece. For a line graph, here's an example of a line graph. These would be like January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Maybe these are inches of rain, or so I guess that probably would, days of sunshine, I don't know. Whatever it would be, but the graph is a line as such. You can see it starts at 0, goes up to 4.5. It's pretty evenly spaced, pretty basic. Again, if we scrunch this up, it's going to scrunch the graph. If we draw this out, it's going to stretch the graph. So different things will happen to the data. So this is the exact same thing, but now I've affected the data on the side. I've scrunched the graph. If you compare, this is still going up, but it looks far less dramatic than this because this axis is stretched out. I'm still going from 0 to 4.5, but it's all a little less pushed up. Okay? Same data, but now stretched across this axis as well. So now where it's going up, it's a little less dramatic. It's not as steep. Compare that graph to this graph. Still going up, but this angle is a little steeper because the bottom is being stretched out. Stretching out the bottom on a bar graph won't make a big difference because they're specific bars, but stretching out the bottom axes on a line graph makes a big difference. It elongates the graph, making any climbs, any increases or decreases more gradual in appearance. So again, these three graphs are the exact same data. They have different appearances because of the way I have manipulated the axes. You have to be able to look at a graph and say, have they done anything to these axes to change the appearance of the graph to try to trick me? And that might happen to you in the future.